Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank
we hear
you. Thank you.
We
Okay.
are live.
We are live. So we're going to go ahead and open up this public hearing. I appreciate everyone hanging out with us for a little bit while we get things situated here. So thank you all for joining us tonight. You may be aware that the public hearing was originally scheduled for March 8th at a Flint City Council. This is a little bit different, but we have done this in the past where we actually have public hearings separate from City Council. So we appreciate your time joining us tonight, and hopefully we can have an opportunity to hear all of your comments. This is a process that is required as part of our citizen participation plan to hold a public hearing, gather public input as part of our action plan process and making recommendations. We take those comments and we include them in the preparation of our action plan. They're revisited to determine if there's anything that needs to be modified or amended based upon the comments that we received tonight. So you all play a very important role in this process, and I appreciate all of you joining us and hopefully commenting on your on the action plan recommendations. I think everyone had an opportunity. The ad was published actually in the paper on March 16th, the revised notice on March 16th. So I think everyone has had an opportunity to review the recommendations. That's the purpose of this hearing, so that as you look at the funding recommendations and the actual action plan, which is on the city's website planning and development page, and we're required to have the draft action plan available to everyone. You can access it there, and then we will be taking comments on that tonight. So that is the purpose of this. It's also been made available for review at several places, including the main Flint Public Library, Genesee County Metropolitan Planning Commission office, the clerk's office, Flint City Hall clerk's office, and the Flint Housing Commission. So if you haven't had an opportunity to either review online or look at a hard copy document, you can go to any of these places and review these documents. And then the format of tonight's meeting is basically going to be very similar. I'm going to finish talking. The purpose is not to hear me talk tonight. Finish talking, and then we're going to turn it over one at a time to people who Casey will unmute. I think I'm going to call names, people that I see on the line, so that you can then speak to the funding recommendations. We will take your comments. There won't be a response to your comments at the end of the meeting. We'll respond generally to some comments, but basically they all get assembled and included in the action plan and recorded to make sure that we're taking those into consideration as we finalize the action plan recommendations. Then we will close the public hearing, and that will be it. So the only other thing that I am going to do is that we are required to read a notice about the Open Meetings Act. And so I'm just going to read this statement, and then we will start taking comments from you all. So just want to say that on Tuesday, October 13th, 2020, Senate Bill 1108 passed, amending the Open Meetings Act to allow municipalities to hold electronic meetings before January 1st, 2021, and retroactive to March 18th, 2020. On Friday, October 16th, 2020, Governor Whitmer signed into law Senate Bill 1108, amending the Open Meetings Act. And on November 15th, an order from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, DHHS, prohibits gatherings at non-residential venues beginning November 18th. Therefore, pursuant to the amended Open Meetings Act and the DHHS order, the following meeting is scheduled electronically. This meeting is being held electronically. So that is it for me. I will begin by, I'll introduce the other folks on the phone from the city. If some of you are on the Zoom call, you can see some of them. I'll let you know who are city folks, and then we will actually open it up for public comment. So I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself. I'm Suzanne Wilcox. I'm the Director of Planning and Development, the department in which Community and Economic Development, who administers the entitlement funds, is a part of. And next, I'm going to turn it over to Glenda Dunlap, who can introduce herself. And you guys may have to unmute your phones.
It looks like, Glenda, there's no microphone connected.
Okay, so that's Glenda. She's on this call too. She's a program manager in our department. She primarily handles economic development activities and emergency solutions grant, and also works on some CDBG. Next, I'm going to have Sarah introduce herself.
I'm Sarah Cuomo's, and I am the program manager for home and housing and some CDBG as well within the division.
Thank you, Sarah. Next, I see Carissa. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Carissa Dotson. I am all things financial and community and economic development.
Thank you, Carissa. Next, I see Deanna Thompson.
Hi, I'm Deanna. I'm a CD grant coordinator and an environmental officer.
Thank you very much for showing your face, Deanna. It's been a long time. Thank you.
No problem.
Next, I see Mike Smith. Mike, I think you have to unmute yourself if you can hear me. Okay, Mike is also a CD grant coordinator, and he works closely with Sarah on home and housing projects, and he also does administer some CDBG grants. Next on the phone, we have our newest employee, who is Alison Campbell.
Hi, my name's Alison Campbell, and I'm a community development grant coordinator. Like Suzanne said, fairly new, but learning the process.
Thank you, Allie. And then that looks like it for staff on the call, except for Casey, who is our IT guru, and she will be guiding us through this call tonight. And so Casey Antolagan is our GIS technician, and you will hear her voice frequently tonight.
It looks like, I think we have maybe someone from the city with a on the phone. It's ending in 426.
I don't know. Is there someone else from CED that called in from their office phone?
We have a number ending in 426.
It could be Kevin Miller. Kevin, are you on the line? It's possible that it's Kevin Miller. I'm sorry. And that is our office phone. So Kevin Miller is also a CD grant. It looks like he's unmuted now. Kevin, is that you? Nope. Kevin is a CD grant coordinator, and he works on primarily some CDBG contracts as well as emergency solutions grant. He works closely with Glenda. So I think that is all of us now. I don't see any other city folks on the call or any other city numbers. So again, thank you for joining us. And what I'm going to do is go through who I see on this call. Casey will unmute you at the time, and then you will have an opportunity to speak. If you do not wish to speak, you are not required to. But you certainly, this is your opportunity, and I encourage all of you to take advantage of this time to speak on the recommendations. So the first caller that I see is best practice, and I see names of organizations. So the first caller I see is best practices consulting. So if you want to go ahead, I believe you're unmuted.
I actually have no comment, just thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Laura, for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
No problem.
The second caller I see is Legal Services of Eastern Michigan. If someone would like to speak from there.
Hi, Suzanne. Similarly, we didn't have any comments. We just were welcoming the opportunity to participate.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jill. Next on the call is VAAA, and I'm sorry, I don't see a full name. I see Yoshika, not a full name, but VAAA, you are unmuted. Hello, is there anyone from VAAA that would like to speak tonight?
I'm sorry, I was unmuting. My name is Yoshika Albert. I'm with the Valley Area Agency on Aging. I just appreciate the opportunity to listen, and I don't have any comment at this time.
Okay, thank you, Yoshika. Appreciate that. Now I can see names. Casey helped me out too. So I'm going to maybe go in a different order. So next I see John McGarry from United Way.
Yep, that's me. Do you hear me?
I can hear you, John.
Okay. All right, well, I appreciate the opportunity to participate in the meeting. My name is John McGarry. I live at 1115 Lafayette Street in Flint. Been here for over 40 years. I'm a contract employee of the United Way of Genesee County. And my main goal there is to continue to run United Way Youth Recreation Initiative, which has been funded for over 7 years now by CDBG. Of course, this last year has been really tough on kids with the very limited opportunities for sports and recreational activities. So we're looking forward to getting started again, especially hopefully with when cases start to go back down again, because again, as you probably know, Michigan is probably the newest hotspot in the entire country. But you know, the goal of this program is to provide recreational opportunities to primarily inner city Flint youth who, because of economic circumstances, don't have the opportunity to participate in various programs that are available to out-county youth. We provide things like sports equipment, uniforms, travel, cost of travel to games, tournament fees, and entry fees. Over the years, we've served over 25 different youth groups, and a typical year, it's usually 15 to 20. We are hopeful that, again, that the COVID crisis will ease, so we'll be able to get back in business soon. But again, appreciate the opportunity to participate today. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for your comments. The next speaker. I'm sorry, is Rita Stanley from Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's good to be here. It's good to see everyone. And thank you to the city for allowing us to speak on behalf of the children that we serve, children and families that we serve in Flint and Genesee County. I do have a quick question, but I'll go ahead with my comments. COVID-19 has been especially challenging for youth serving organizations as we try to keep our kids connected. And Big Brothers Big Sisters, we continue to provide mentoring services through virtual platforms. So we had to navigate and transition our in-person orientations and application process, and then actually the one-to-one mentoring introductions, but we're still matching. We matched just 2 kids this week to mentors. And we know that in the city of Flint, the kids have been especially, and families have been especially challenged because of the gaps in technology. But as an organization that's similar to most organizations on this call, the COVID-19 has required all of us to really be able to expand our roles to help in other areas. And so we have helped. Actually, today we've given out some water to some of our families. So we've had some drive-by water giveaways We've done a drive-by holiday party. We did have a holiday, well, a fun day in the park during the summer months. But what I'm sharing is that we've had to be pretty innovative in making sure that we keep our kids connected. We have fundraising activities to make sure that we have the resources to do this. And so the CDBG funding is especially important for us during this critical time. I just want to say that the kids in the city of Flint, you know, their parents have had to be their educators. So they're relying on us and the mentors to help support them during this very critical time. I guess what my question is that this is for the current fiscal year that ends June 30th, is that correct? That we're speaking on?
Hi, this is Carissa speaking. This is actually for the 2020-21 program year that ends this June 30th.
Okay, thank you. And that ends my comments.
Suzanne?
No. Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulty here, but it looks like I'm back online. So thank you, Carissa, for answering that question. I appreciate that. And if at any point you guys can't hear me, just assume that I'm having a technical problem and please jump in and answer the question. So the next speaker on the line is Dr. Wells Strozier from CHIA. Dr. Strozier, would you like to speak?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, great. First of all, I want to say hello to everyone that's on the line, and thank you so very much for inviting me to participate in this meeting. The Center for Higher Educational Achievement, which is also known as CHIA, the City of Flint supports us with our adult literacy program. We provide remedial academic training, which is basic reading, basic math, computer training, and GED prep for adults 25 years of age and older. As Rita was stating, with COVID has really made us, we've already known, but I guess now organizations and parents are understanding that they are not in a position to be able to help their children academically. So as Rita stated, that the parents are relying on them to help with their children with the mentoring, we're now having a lot of the parents who are coming to us who are at or below the grade level of their students. Recently, we have had 3 mothers who have enrolled in our adult educational programs that are at 2nd grade level at reading, kindergarten, in math. And we have 1 mother who could not place at all. She was totally illiterate. These are residents that are coming from the city of Flint, and with the Community Development Block Grant Funds, that's what pays for these residents to be able to have the opportunity to have one-on-one academic training. So it's been kind of a challenge due to funding being late coming in this year, but we're very grateful and thankful to be able to still provide services for the residents. I do have 2 questions. I'm not sure if this is the time for them, but one of the questions I do have, after we have this meeting, does City Council have anything to do with this any further? And number 2, how long will it still take in order for this to be submitted to HUD before we're able to actually before funds can be accessible to us? Thank you.
I can answer those quickly, I think. So yes, City Council actually has to approve the contracts. City Council approves authorizing entering into contracts. The city can submit the action plan with the mayor's signature, but council is required to approve contracts. So we typically take the action plan to council so that they can approve those contracts. We then finalize the action plan. It is actually going to council to committee next Wednesday, and hopefully for approval April 12th. At that point, we will finalize the action plan. There may be modifications based upon both city council, also maybe as a result of these comments. And then we submit it to HUD. We will submit it to HUD relatively quickly within a couple days after council acts. And then HUD has 45 days to review the action plan and issue our grant agreement. So we would be looking at sometime the beginning of June, having these funds available. I think the rest of you know the process. I think you all know the process of our contract development. And once we submit it to HUD, we complete our environmental. We request contract development packets for you for the funding that you received, and we work on finalizing and executing those contracts. But with this year, it looks like the funding will be available sometime around June 1st. So I hope that answered your question, and thank you, Dr. Wells-Strozier. And we will go on to the next speaker, who it looks like is Todd Slicher from Flint Cultural Center Corporation.
Yes. Hello. How are you doing this evening? Hope everybody is well. Nice to see all your faces on the Zoom. Hopefully everybody can hear me, correct?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. I want to thank the city for their work on this action plan. I thought it was well thought out. I thought it spread the CDBG funds among a lot of different organizations that are helping youth and families and citizens of Flint. So I really appreciate the work that people have done on that. In terms of the Flint Cultural Center Corporation and Sloan and Longway, which I represent, we serve a lot of families and youth of the Flint area with a lot of after-school programs, partnership programs with the Flint Community Schools. We've been doing a lot of virtual programs with COVID, as you can imagine, and outreach programs in the community. So we really appreciate the thought that's gone into this, the work that the city has done in putting together the action plan, and all of the partners that are kind of listed in the action plan that are helping the residents of Flint. So I just wanted to put that in as a comment, and thank you very much for your time, and pass it on to the next person.
Thank you, Todd. It looks like the next speaker is Genesee County Youth Corporation, Jim Perlocki.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us the privilege to speak on behalf of the plan. I don't have anything specific regarding the plan other than full support for the development of the plan under CDBG and ESG. I have two questions as well. And again, as my colleagues have said, I'm not sure this is the right place for them. Suzanne, you have kind of outlined the process and of how this grant application to HUD on behalf of the city will be completed. If it starts at the beginning of June, and these are dollars for 2020, 2021, ending June 30, is it the city's plan to extend that end date? Because that only leaves 30 days for expenditures on a grant at 11 months into the year. And then my second question has to do not with this particular grant, but the former grant that the city put out for reprogram dollars under CDBG. And if there's any news on whether that is going to be acted upon or if that has ceased any action.
Sure, I can respond to those. To answer to your first question, absolutely, you will not be expected to spend your entire grant within 30 days. We will be looking at a year contract from the time of execution of the agreement. So if the, if the funds become available June 1st, it'll go through June, I'm sorry, May 31st of next year. So that is the plan there. And I guess the second, part of the answer, the first question is also part of the answer to your second question. We're really kind of trying to roll out several pots of money at this point. One of the reasons that we've been struggling with the action plan is something that you all have brought up related to COVID. That's something that has certainly impacted our operations as well. And so we are, in addition to dealing with the 2021 action plan dollars, we are also dealing with CARES Act dollars, and we also will be releasing RFPs for 21-22 soon. So we kind of have, we have a strategy now in terms of releasing those funds, and it's more complicated than it might seem just because of the requirements with the different pots of money and the different timelines that are associated with each, and also the different reporting requirements and things to connect them, things to connect the amendments with. So our strategy for rolling out this money is that first we are hopefully finalizing this action plan. Very soon you will see recommendations for CARES Act money. That is the next pot of money, and that is primarily due to how that is going to be connected with the $19-20 connected, meaning administratively in our system, so that we can actually follow the process of having a shortened comment period for that. Once we finish that, we will probably be doing this at the same time, releasing RFPs for the 21-22 action plan money. And then we've had to do some work on the reprogrammed recommendations, just looking at how the money was allocated. And given all of this is more complicated than probably you want to know, but just given how all the money connects with each other in the system, we've had to do kind of some working with those funding amounts and figuring out where they go. And so that is still ongoing. So that is something, there might be some changes to that. We still do have those dollars available and recommendations made. We really are just going to finish these other, well, I shouldn't say finish. We are just going to get these other three pots of money moving before we bring back before we bring the reprogrammed dollars and publish those. That's kind of our last step, even though I know everybody's anxious to see that and get that moving, just in terms of logistics and connection to different pots of money. You have to remember that reprogrammed dollars come from multiple old years money, and they're, because of the way HUD's reporting system is, it's a little bit tricky to deal with. So we're dealing with these other three pots of money first, and then we will move reprogrammed dollars.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
So thank you for your comment. And next on the line, I see Communities First, Glenn Wilson. And if you would like to speak, Glenn.
Yes. Yep. Just quick question. Just hoping to get a response back, whether it can be through the action plan or the. But we applied as a CHOTO for the Grand project on University, which originally was listed as a CHOTO project. Then it was taken off the list, and the funds was put as to be determined. The project has already received tax credits from the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, funds from the Federal Home Loan Bank, and some other partners as well. So just trying to figure out why was it on there as a draft, and is there something that if you apply as a CHOTO, why you would not receive the funds if the project fits that particular criteria? So hopefully I can get a response, to that, just, by email or something like that. It's fine, but I just want to make sure I just put that out there. I'm just looking for a response on that. But other than that, I think the action plan was put together quite nicely. I think what Todd said, it seems fairly equitable as far as trying to get around to the rest of the community, trying to, hit different parts of the city, different types of programs. Very, thankful for the HVAC support over at the Community Enrichment Center. That should be opening here pretty soon. and this will allow the facility to stay open, 365 days a year, because that place really got hot in the winter, and we were able to secure an additional 50,000 on top of this 100,000 that we were able to use as leverage to get that system in for that. So we greatly appreciate that, but I definitely need some follow-up and some answers on the grant and the Chodo application for that and why that was done.
Sure. Thank you, Glenn. We can respond to that. I can tell you generally that the original action plan that was published in the paper was published in error. Initially, there was a recommendation, and just for everybody's information, the way the process works is recommendations are made to the administration, who has the opportunity to review and revise. In some cases, then they go to City Council. They have that same opportunity as part of their process once after it's been published under 15%. So once the recommendations were initially made, there was a draft, and unfortunately, the publication that was published in the paper was published in error, and it did not include the change that was made upon review. So there was a correction made. It was published also in the Flint Journal, and that's why you see that change made. I'm happy to discuss that further with you, but thank you for your comments, and appreciate that. And if you have other questions, we can talk about it offline, but that is what happened with that. Next person on the line is Faith Foundation Resources, and that's Angela Lotz. So if you'd like to speak, Angela. I think you're muted, Angela.
Thank you, Suzanne. Good evening, everyone. Just want to thank you for the opportunity. One of the other people on the line prior to me asked the question that I wanted, and it was answered. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Next on the line, it looks like we have Genesee County Habitat for Humanity, Tom Hutchison. Tom, if you'd like to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. I don't really have any comments, except to say we definitely appreciate the support of the city and your acknowledgement of the importance of affordable housing.
Thank you, Tom. Next on the line, it looks like there's a couple of people who did not want to speak, but now we have Metro Community Development, Brian Glowiak.
Hi, Suzanne. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for the opportunity to participate as well. Just want to say on behalf of Metro, we also support this comprehensive plan, and just a couple of brief comments on the services that we're associated with as the lead agency for the Genesee County Continuum of Care. We can attest that the need for homeless prevention dollars is only growing and exacerbated by the pandemic. And as a CDFI and with our small business lending, the need for capital infusions and technical guidance for our small business community is ever growing, irrespective of all the other federal dollars that are flowing into the community. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Looks like we have Shelley Hoffman from the Shelter of Flint online. Shelley, if you'd like to speak.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, and thank you to the city for your support of our emergency shelter for families experiencing homelessness. It's much needed and very much appreciated as well. I'd like to note that the ESG funds are, as far as I can tell, in response to a proposal we submitted in December of 2019. And a great deal has changed in that nearly year and a half. And as your staff are most likely aware, we relinquished control of the HARA in March of 2020. And with that, we no longer use rapid rehousing dollars, and we are no longer the HMIS administrator. And you have funds allocated for those two purposes that we will not be able to use in this round of funding for those purposes. And so I wanted you to be aware of that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That is a good point. And I think our intent was to move forward with this, recognizing that there are potentially obviously some changes that need to be made. Luckily, we're not changing categories, so we can actually, and have had to do this recently, reallocate the funding to another, become a vendor for the same category without going through a change in process. So appreciate you recognizing that, and that is something that we will be taking care of to modify vendors to get the funds to the appropriate entity so that they can be spent in the community. But appreciate that information.
Great. Thank you, Suzanne.
Okay, so next on the line, I believe there is Flint and Genesee Literacy Network, Jessica Kitchener.
Hi, good evening. Hello, everyone. Jessica from the Flint Genesee Literacy Network. We have no formal comment. We just want to thank you for the opportunity to listen in. Thank you.
Jessica, appreciate you joining tonight. And the last speaker, it looks like right now, is Juan Zuniga from LISC. And so if you'd like to speak, Juan.
Sure, just a quick thank you to all of our city friends and all of our community partners out there. Loving what's in the plan and excited to see some new faces on there as well. And thank you so much to the shelter for sharing their updates, which is so great about these open meetings and how we can get a little bit more information on everything that's going on with COVID-19 so strong. Appreciate that. So thank you all.
Thank you. And that's actually all the speakers. Unless I've missed, is there anyone that I missed? I'm trying to go down the list and not miss anyone. Did anyone join after I called the name that would like to speak that didn't get an opportunity to? I think I have everyone on here. So with that being said, what some of your questions actually covered my closing points, which are, next steps for this is we take this to City Council, taking into consideration, and all of your comments get added to our actual action plan document. And if there's any modifications that are potentially need to be made as a result of comments, that happens. But we will be taking this to City Council, the action plan for approval, again, April 7th at their committee meeting, and April 12th at their council meeting. You are all invited to attend the council meetings and speak again. Again, we will incorporate your comments, but it is good for council to hear some of these comments directly. So I appreciate that. And then, as I shared before, then we will be compiling any modifications that are needed and submitting our action plan to HUD, within a few days after council approval. And then the goal is to have, an actual action plan funding available to everyone by the beginning of June. And meanwhile, be on the lookout for CARES Act money and RFPs for the 21-22 actual funding, action plan funding, again, CDBG, home, and ESG, that will be coming out soon. And those are really our updates. I appreciate all of you taking the time and joining us tonight and speaking, and feel free to attend City Council and speak on Wednesday at committee or next Monday during their public forum component of their council meeting at the general council meeting. So that's all I have for tonight, and that, I think, concludes our public hearing. Okay, thank you all for joining, and have a great evening, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Thank you.